They don't
You
know why I
bet it's
exist
truly in
either,
somebody's
dude.
chef
There's
hat,
no
bro.
even me
I
either.
associate myself with the rest of mankind and modern technology.
Really.
Yeah.
So that
So
automatically makes you an
cherry
expert
pick which
out of all things
mankind you want to
space?
associate yourself with, don't you?
Look, there's so much misinformation about science and technology in this space, right? People just don't
Misinformation.
understand. Like yesterday, Shane and the guys at Data Cosmology did a whole bollocksing of what GPS is and how its coordinate system works, and they completely fucked it up.
You're
right?
fumbling your way through this argument. How can you know anything about what those guys are doing?
Well, how can you know
make
they
an
can't
expert
do it,
right there.
Jim? You don't even understand
Argue
the
with
basics
them
of
over there,
expert
dude, about whatever they said. We don't know what they said. We're not going to defend them. We don't know what they said.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. He's the misinformation extraordinaire right here. Daza. Trying to dazzle us with his misinformation.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, here's the second candidate tonight that comes in here trying to argue with us about what other people are saying. I don't know why they don't go talk to those people.
Take Elderberry with you when you leave, huh?
Yeah, you guys can go on a little quest to find the people you actually want to talk to. Yep, that'd be cool.
Go have a picnic, and then, after that, go talk to the people that actually are making these bad arguments. Yeah, go talk to those guys.
Yeah, gay little voyage.
Go have a picnic on the not flat picnic table.
Yeah. Overlooking flat water. Yeah. And then you'll argue.
That has a horizon that's not horizontal.
You'll probably argue with Elderbear, though, because he's going to tell you that the Earth is not an actual curved surface.
Yeah, well, Elderbear and Bev want to run me through their proof, but I'm not prepared to go into an argument about what perpendicular to a curve is. So, but at least I think you guys would accept the notion that I could say there's something perpendicular to a curve, wouldn't you?
Depends on what you mean. If you're going to redefine perpendicular.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, see, there you go.
Well, you were, dude.
What is the mathematical definition of perpendicular? Maybe I'm wrong. What's the mathematical definition?
Yeah. So if I said to somebody that
I want the mathematical definition, not some freaking layman definition.
Okay. Well, but we can talk. We're all laymen here, right? So we can talk in layman
but when you talk about mathematics, everything needs to be defined very rigorously for it to actually work.
Okay. So in mathematics, the something if you were to loosely call something perpendicular to a curve, it's actually perpendicular to the tangent of the curve at the point.
This is not. You're just describing what you think perpendicular is, but you haven't defined it.
What perpendicular is?
How do we evaluate whether what you're saying is true if we don't know what perpendicular is?
Oh, right. You want to go back to Euclid and get Euclid's definition of perpendicular.
No, I want the property that's described to mathematical or geometric objects of what perpendicular is.
An angle. A right angle, 90-degree angle. Is that what you want?
A right angle.
Straight lines.
I'll look it up, dude, since you don't know. I'll just do it myself.
Oh, I don't have.
I really don't know the mathematical definition, dude. I was asking because I was thinking you know because you're arguing it, but you don't know.
Along with other things he doesn't know.
You have to write down the specific words that you would put in a maths textbook for what perpendicular is, but it's when two straight lines form a right angle, right? Is that good enough, though, that you can understand what I'm talking about there? We can have a conversation based on that.
Yeah, but then we need to define right angle because the right angle, you got two lines that are perpendicular. So we need to define these things.
Oh, right. So you can't even have a conversation about something as simple as a right angle and a perpendicular, can you?
Well, you don't have a right angle if you have a curve, right? That's what you're talking about.
Okay. Can we agree on what two straight lines are when they're perpendicular then?
No, you suck, bro.
Well, wait till I get the definition. Maybe.
We might even be able to
agree.
This is primary school maths, right angles.
No, but we're not doing primary school fucking maths, dude.
Yeah,
you're talking about
a small step above, right?
Yeah. How do you have two right lines on a sphere, a right angle? How do you have that? See how discombobulated is what you're saying.
There we go. See,
you're on a sphere.
You can't even comprehend the concept of something being perpendicular to
I comprehend it very well, that it clashes with a sphere. How do you have a right angle? Two straight lines, but you're on a sphere.
It's given me a whole bunch of drawings showing lines perpendicular to spheres.
Bullshit.
No, he just did. Look at what he posted. All of these things with a G, or every single one has lines perpendicular to curves. That's what that little square means, perpendicular, right angle.
Well,
Now he's going
what
to start
they would
arguing
call it,
about it.
what they would call it in geometry is normal to the surface. That's what they would
Yes,
call it. They
that's
wouldn't
right.
call
Normal to the surface.
They wouldn't call it perpendicular.
Yeah, perpendicular is
If
different.
if you were having a conversation with a professor in mathematics and you said to him, we have a line that is perpendicular to the curve, he wouldn't blink an eye. Would.
Nah, you might get a little irritated that you didn't say surface normal.
Well, it
Because
doesn't
saying
have to be a
perpendicular
surface.
makes you
It's
sound
to be normal to the
amateurish.
curve as well, right? But yeah, surface normal.
No,
in the
we
case of
apply
a sphere.
perpendicular to the Euclidean and non-Euclidean like surfaces. We say surface normal. That's how it is.
Yeah. So the surface normal is perpendicular to a tangent plane, right?
Yeah,
At the point of tangency.
yeah.
So it's not that hard. We understand what's going on. We didn't need to go through all of that.
No, we do, because those things, tangent plane, tangent point, all those things aren't actually on the thing in question. So the thing in question as a whole, those things you ascribe to them, you're describing like a mathematical relation of like an imaginary thing to it.
So why did you even post those pictures of geodesy? Because they
Called
have
internal
these things
critique.
in them.
Yeah.
It's called an internal critique.
Okay.
You didn't even know
you
that.
guys
Why
like
can't we have
you guys
an
are just like
internal
speds.
level of discussion
Internal
about the Earth?
critique. I can analyze your worldview inside for consistency without adopting it. You know that, right?
I'm not here to have you evaluate my worldview.
Well, that's what's happening. Sorry, but that's what's happening. We do that so
You have
that
no
we can keep you.
We
do that so we can keep you consistent on points that you bring up. Daza, your points are not consistent, so we have to take you by the hand and show you what you're missing out. And so when we point it out to you, you're like, "Oh, yeah, that's right."
What about all
That's
stuff
what you-
that
that's
you
what you
reject
did.
out of hand, Alpha? Like all of those measurements we
Doesn't
talked about.
matter.
Rejected out of
The
hand.
internal critique is meant for your benefit so that you can correct the thing that you're not saying, right? So once it's
What about
corrected,
you? Do you give yourself your own internal
don't worry
critique?
about
I
me,
don't
man.
think so.
Don't worry
I think
about
you're
me because
incapable of
you
critiquing
are
yourself.
saying wrong things when it comes to your paradigm. So when you're internally critiqued on it,
Everything
then
is
you have
wrong
to-
about your
you
paradigm.
We
have
can't
to
do an
be
internal
consistent.
critique. From our
Have to be
worldview, we
consistent.
would do an external critique, meaning we would adopt your worldview and look at us, right?
You have nothing to critique internally other than misinformation, basically.
Dude.
You think the Earth is flat? You've made a ginormous
All right, so
mistake
just
somewhere in your
shift the
assessment
burden
of
off of your
information.
shoulders
And
because
here we
right
go to
now
the
you-
fucking, you guys think this, and
Yeah,
you guys are
but
just wrong.
that's his only
you guys
saving
do
grace.
Made a
misinformation.
giant
That's his
fuck up
only saving
somewhere, to be
grace is
honest.
if he shifts the burden right now because he's got his feet to the flames.
No,
and he
he's
doesn't
resorted
wanna
to
admit
drama.
when he's wrong.
He's resorted to drama.
Of course,
I think it's funny, that's all.
yeah, that's funny.
Why do you
that
get
you don't
cooked in
have
here
the
every time you
answers.
come in here? Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
You didn't have the answers to any of the things that you were bringing forward, so we had to correct you. And now that you're corrected, you're like, oh, well, what about you guys? Why? You didn't know that your
what
own
point of view is and
worldview
how
was
you ended up
inconsistent.
where you are.
Hey, don't worry, but why are you You're just leading everybody away from the thing. Like I said, we're pointing out.
So when you and the Bandy Light were in the chat saying geodetic surveyors measure curvature, were you spreading misinformation?
Might have used the wrong words, but the how can I describe it?
And you misinformed people?
So one of the aims of the geodetic
And you
survey
misinformed
is to
people?
determine the
Just
shape
admit.
of the Earth.
And you misinformed people.
Just admit you were misinformed people.
Hmm.
See, we could all play this
Admit
game.
it. Yeah, admit it, Daza. We have you on record right now saying that Clipcord got a little snippet of you saying they measured the reference ellipsoid as the best fit surface. You said that. Is that
That's what it is.
misinformation? Is that
Where do you think the
misinformation?
reference ellipsoid
He
Is that
also said it was
misinformation?
calculated. That's the key thing. He said it was
Yeah.
calculated.
Yes. So what
so
you
is
do?
this misinformation
how do
that you said
create a
they
reference
measured it?
ellipsoid?
Dude,
How do you
is
create
this
a reference
misinformation?
ellipsoid?
Is this misinformation that you said they measured it?
Alpha, how do you create a reference ellipsoid?
Dude, Are you gonna
You
say
just
yes
make
or
it
no?
up, Daza. Daza, you
You
just
can't
make
just
it
make
up.
it up, Indy. You can't just make it
Yeah,
up.
that's right. You just
You've
make
got
it
to
up because there's
base
a
it
whole
on some
bunch of
measurement.
them. How many reference ellipsoids are there, Daza?
Well, there's a lot because
Yeah, there's a
they
lot.
all have different
How did
roles,
they
right?
get those? They just made it up.
No, they measured something locally. So there's a whole bunch of reference ellipsoids. There's some that are used a lot in the US. There's some elsewhere. The one that's becoming most common is the GPS WGS84.
Okay, the bezel spheroid is the one that was used in the India survey. What did they measure in fucking India to get the bezel fucking sphere?
They would have had some idea of the dimensions of the Earth to create a spheroid. You have to.
Really?
No, they
Yeah.
don't have to.
Well, why is it so that you need? Okay. Well, we'll find out what the origin. What was it? The
Okay,
Bessel
so
spheroid?
they're incapable. There's a moral
Clark
duty not
and
to do
bezel.
it, or like is someone holding a gun to their head and they just can't make some shit up?
You're talking about
When
the
you- So all of these spheroids are designed to be a best fit of the shape of the Earth at the places you're doing the measurement for geodetic survey or whatever
Okay,
the
but
purpose.
the bezel sphere is
spheroid
an
is,
actual
right?
sphere, and it was invented in fucking Europe. So how to get to India?
I don't know what they did in India. I know the history of the WGS84 spheroid, but that's
I'm telling you that for their survey across India, their reference ellipsoid was not actually an ellipsoid; it was the actual sphere. It was a sphere.
spheroid. Okay,
No, a
well, that's
sphere.
fine. You can use a spheroid. You'll just have lots of deviation from it, won't you?
Okay.
How do they get
Yeah,
the
but they
dimensions
didn't
of the
get the
spheroid?
spheroid from local measurements in India. They made it up
From what? What did they make it up from?
from whatever Bezel did in frickin' Europe.
From celestial navigations, maybe? Some celestial information?
I don't know, dude. I
They
don't
might have
know.
deduced the
But
radius
Bezel
from
was not in
celestial.
India. Bezel's never been to India. He didn't go to India.
Maybe he had information about India, or maybe he had the spheroid that he established somewhere else.
Yes, it was a spheroid he established somewhere else. So they didn't make the spheroid from local measurements. Okay? That's the point. The thing you said is required. It's not required because it's a bunch of abstractions and you can just make shit up, dude. Why do you think that human beings are limited to freaking, I don't know what. I don't even know what you think, dude. You're almost beyond help at this point.
Someone here the other day had a big list of spheroids that we were going through, and they were all almost identical, right? They only vary by a few percent, or more, not even a few percent, a few fractions of a percent. Modern ones, anyway. And it's like the WGS84 spheroid. That was a combination of geodetic information, terrestrial information, as well as some early satellite observations as well.
Oh, I'm sure. That's exactly what
And that's how they established that spheroid. And now they've refined it by measuring it more precisely with GNSS.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think
So
so.
you can do very precise terrestrial
I'm gonna head
measurements,
out,
but
Indio.
you can't measure the whole Earth.
You're just claim stacking, dude. You're like a fucking
Maybe.
you're like a Jenga tower of fucking claims. And I can crash the whole Jenga tower. We're like, is there any evidence for what you said? And then you
No.
the tower hits the ground.
Nothing.
For the GPS one, I don't reckon you'll be able to crash that, mate.
Yeah. Daza, you can try and hone your GPS argument. The fact of the matter is, you're using your Senator's fixed. Period. You're
Yeah,
not
it's
even
in a
using
fixed.
a
Yep,
sphere.
exactly. So
You're not even using
just
a
quickly
sphere.
about Bessel. It looks like he did some meridian arc measurements in Prussia and Russia.
Yeah, not India.
No, but same deal. The spheroid, where you measurements, you get if you measure this, try to interpret the spheroid or get an ellipsoid to describe the Earth from anywhere on the surface, you'll come up with similar numbers because it's almost a perfect spheroid, right?
Is it? No,
Yeah, the
it's
oblateness
not.
is
It's
very
not almost
small.
a perfect spheroid. It's not a spheroid at all. It's not an ellipsoid at all. It's none of those things.
The best fit shape for it is an oblate ellipsoid.
Okay, that's incorrect. Okay,
What's the
that's
best
nonsense.
fit shape? Yeah.
Because they are simply mapping measurements to it in the way I described in detail. It's no different than texturing a fucking 3D wireframe for a video game.
It is, because all of those things have to line up, right?
What needs to line up? Line up to what?
Okay. I'm
Line
sure
up to
you've
what?
seen this meme.
Line
I
up
don't
to
have
what?
it.
Line
Okay.
up to what?
Each other. So if you make a whole bunch
What do
of
you mean each
linear
other? What is
measurements on the
that?
surface of the Earth, right? Distance measurements on the surface of the Earth and bearings, and you go one way across the United States, down the other way, and then come back again. You've got to make them all line up, right? And they will not line up unless you do that reduction onto the spheroid or the reference body and then back again.
Okay, I already covered this when I say they take the measurements and don't trust the measurements because they're not measuring the surface of the sphere. They're measuring lines of sight in the direction of the plumb line. That's what they're actually measuring. They're not measuring the surface of the sphere. So if
Well,
I
measuring
take
the dimensions of things on the surface of the sphere, right?
no, there's no sphere.
What's the distance? They're measuring distances.
There's no sphere.
There is a sphere. You just
no. There's no sphere. There's a ex post facto sphere that they take those measurements and put it on. There's no sphere in the measurements, Daza. No matter how much you wish it to be true.
They have to be applied through a sphere, kind of normalized through a sphere, right? Otherwise, they don't make any sense. You cannot join them together. You cannot use different measurements.
You don't know that.
That's how those traverses work. As big triangulation surveys, they need to do that reduction to make them line up.
I'm assuming that you went through the survey data before the reduction of the vertical direction and then saw that they didn't work. You're making shit up. See, this right. What you're doing now.
I won't talk about that anymore. Then
the other thing you did, you were just wrong. But this is misinformation. When you say that it didn't work, when you have absolutely not a fucking shred of evidence of whether it would work or didn't work, and that it would take a fucking Herculean task and gazillions of fucking sums of money to even go back over all the fucking logbooks and not use and reverse all the reductions of the horizontal direction and then try to map them to a fucking flat surface and see that it didn't work. You didn't do that. No one's ever done that. And to say it wouldn't work is just making shit up. You don't know if it would work or not.
Yeah. All right, I'll leave that one alone then. I'll leave that one alone.
It's fucking always say.
But anyway, going back to Bessel.
Man, if I had $1 for every time I heard that shit, and never, ever a shred of evidence how it doesn't quote unquote work on a flat Earth.
So Bessel's ellipsoid, 10 meridian arcs, 38 latitude and longitude precision measurements as control points. It's a good fit spheroid for Europe, Russia, and India.
Okay,
so that's a bit of the history of that one.
So we got to think of how did they do this, right? They did reductions of the horizontal direction. They're azimuths, dude, because they assume that their frickin' vertical plane that supposedly goes through the frickin' instrument are not parallel.
Yeah, okay. So we did meridian arc measurements, right? So you measure a distance on the ground very precisely. And
yeah, I'm sure.
And then the arc measurement. So the arc is impacted by deflection of the vertical. So you would have had some error.
The arc of what?
Celestial arc.
Oh, the celestial arc.
Yeah, sure. So they do it celestially, right? They measure their lat long celestially and measure
what they're measuring what they're measuring is how much the sky moves, dude.
Yeah, it turns out to be a really good reference.
Like, what wouldn't you believe?
Which is why celestial navigation works, right?
What?
This is the same principle as celestial navigation.
Celestial navigation has worked before the globe, dude.
Not to the precision that the globe model allows you to.
Nonsense, dude. Nonsense. The Carolinian Islanders could hit freaking 1 kilometer wide fucking rock islands from 600 kilometers away.
Not in the dark.
Yeah, yes, in the dark. You think they can see?
They can get away with basic, what's it called? When you just go down to a particular latitude and then keep going, right? They had very low precision, Indy. That's
not what the literature says.
it's
You're making
compared
shit
to
up.
modern, because their instrumentation wasn't even very good, right? So they couldn't measure angles very precisely. A lot of it was
using
by
mathematics.
local knowledge.
They weren't using mathematics.
No, they weren't. They just sticks and shadows, basically, right?
Oh no, dude! They're using what's called a sidereal compass and following a road in the sky.
Yeah, but they're not very precise, right?
They were precise enough to hit a 1 kilometer island traveling a distance of 600 kilometers.
How do you know that they only have? What if they only have to get within 50 or 60 kilometers of that island until they can see it on the horizon?
The rocks
right?
just stick out of. It's a rock island. The rocks just stick out of the sea. It's not an island like frickin' Gilligan's Island. We're talking rocks where sea turtles hang out. That they would go there to get the turtle eggs.
Yeah, but the precision is low. But anyway.
You just keep chanting it over and over. The precision's low.
Like I said.
And weird, because the Portuguese demanded them to tell them how they did it. Because they kept finding these motherfuckers in the Philippines. It took them 200 years before they told on themselves.
You can get to the
You're
Philippines.
saying low precision. You don't have any evidence for
right?
what you're saying. You just have this religious belief system in what.
No, I have concrete evidence that the Earth is a globe, right? So
you don't have. First of all, you don't know the Earth is a globe. You just think it.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. What is that? What is your primary knowledge again?
My primary information is through GPS, but we won't go through that today.
Now that wouldn't be primary. So you know that you looked at some numbers on a screen.
Oh no! I've looked at the source code to GPS receivers.
Okay. So numbers on a screen.
So you know nothing about history.
I'm saying that's your primary information.
Book, right?
I'm saying that's your primary information is numbers on a screen.
And the data that comes with those numbers, yeah.
Okay. The data. So your primary information is numbers on a screen. You can call it data. You can call it whatever. You can call who's or what's this.
Yep.
You can call it whatever.
It works.
You have no primary information at the Earth's to go. Period.
My information is good.
That you think is data?
Excellent information.
Would be secondary.
The information I use can determine your location to within 1 centimeter.
You just believe that, okay? Because the document.
I've done tests.
Trimble. You've done 1 centimeter test.
Not 1 centimeter.
How did you know it was accurate within 1 centimeter?
No, I haven't done the 1 centimeter ones, but I've done tests of GPS. I've verified its operation, and I know how it works.
No, you didn't.
And it measures curvature. I've done long enough distance runs to detect curvature.
Yeah, I don't believe you even for 1 second.
Why?
I don't think you even know how it works, quite honestly.
Okay.
No,
Let's have a bat off on who knows more about GPS then. Jin, I just saw your meme there about GPS's ground positioning. That is bollocks, mate. If you believe that, somebody has hoodwinked you big time.
So we already covered this. Okay. You don't have any primary information. You have secondary information. You've already admitted to me many times, well, not many, but enough, that GPS spoofing exists.
Yeah,
and that I can send you into a fucking brick wall.
You can't do it at scale, and you can detect.
How do you know that? The entire fucking country of Estonia is like on fucking GPS blackout. You can do it.
That's a blackout. That is not spoofing. That's a blackout. Dude. You can jam it, but you can't spoof at scale without it being detectable.
Okay. How do you know that?
Because I know how it works. You can see it in the design of the system. All you have to do is fix one GPS or know where two GPSs are relative to each other, and you can detect if you're being spoofed almost instantly.
And how would you know that? You would use the GPS, the very thing that's in question, to figure that out.
So if I have a fixed GPS...
Yeah, I wouldn't address what I said either.
So what did you say again? Sorry.
You said you would need to know the relative position of the two GPS. Well, how would you know that from the GPS?
Oh yeah, if you've got an antenna on each wing of an aircraft.
But you're getting a spoof signal. So how would you know that?
If you've got an antenna with independent receivers on each wing of an aircraft, you know that those wings always have to be 40 meters apart, whatever it is. Okay. If your GPS at any time says those wings aren't 40 meters apart,
the orientation of the airplane would change depending on the orientation relative to the satellite. Okay.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Okay, dude. The orientation of the wings relative to some satellite would change.
Yes, but the distance between them doesn't.
The distance that it measures will depend upon the orientation of the plane because the angle changes.
No. With two GPS receivers,
because it's a timing signal. Now
you can measure the distance.
It's a timing signal. So say it's this. Say the GPS signal is going south to north, and the plane's wings are aligned south to north. Okay, that's going to be one timing difference.
You've got to have at least one
timing difference. Right? And if you rotate the plane, now they're both going to get the signal at the same time. If you tilt the plane upside down at a 45-degree angle, you're also going to get a different value. Okay,
so you do realize you have to have.
You're saying the wings are 40 feet apart is crap, dude.
No, bullshit. That's how differential GPS works. That's how they do GPS surveying.
They're not they're using static items.
So the GPS satellites, you have to have more than one to start with, right? So if you rotate, the position you measure for each end of the wing is going to move.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, I built a thing that pilots carried onto ships. It had 4 GPS receivers on a fold-out board separated by 1 meter. It was as good as a compass for determining orientation, and you can buy commercial devices like that today.
Okay, I know source. Trust me, bro.
So you can, with 2 GPS receivers.
When I was a gardener in Ice Britannia, I forged unobtainium steel fork and swords.
Can you understand that 2 GPS receivers?
That I don't believe you.
Okay, well let's ignore what I've done professionally and talk about what GPS gives you. Right, you get a coordinate.
You in here. I don't believe that you've done anything like that professionally, period. I don't think you've worked in any professional capacity of engineering or anything. I don't believe it. Do you know why I don't believe it? Because I've worked with these people, and I've heard them talk, and I'm associated with them on a day-to-day basis. You don't sound like any of them. You don't think like any of them. You don't behave like any of them. You say stupid shit like, y'all are spreading misinformation instead of just giving the deets, right?
So let's go back to
I don't believe you. I think you're a LARPer, and I think you've been LARPing for about 2 years now. That you worked in this profession. I don't believe you.
So, Indy, if you have 2 GPS receivers, will they both get unique coordinates, right, for their position? Agree on that?
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
And if you had both of those coordinates, you could calculate the distance between the 2 receivers, right?
Hypothetically, yes.
Yeah.
Now, why don't you show us you doing this? Sorry to interrupt you. Why don't you just show us where we're going wrong in a demonstrated, illustrated video that we can actually watch you do it? If you're such a professional.
That's a good point, Jen. Yeah. He's a professional. He must have don't you have some of this shit in your garage from the 80s?
Yeah. Come on, man.
That's a good idea, Jen. I'll make you a video on that one. I'll do that. But Indy, right? So back to the principle here.
He's desperate.
If your 2 GPSs have positions, and GPS is functioning correctly, you will always get whatever the wingspan of your aircraft is as a distance between those 2 receivers, right? Plus or minus your error tolerance. Even if the aircraft rotates around, the GPS coordinates will have the same distance between them. That's how it works. That it gives you a geometric relationship.
Okay. The point is that the distance between the GPS satellite, so the receiver is going to get one
Satellites.
value, and the other receivers get another value, right? Correct.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. But the GPS satellite, okay, can't calculate any of that crap. Who's
GPS satellite
calculating the
doesn't
distance
know
between
where
the
you
2
are.
points?
The satellite doesn't know where you are.
I know that.
Okay, so you have, and you need more than one. Okay, so what you're describing is a single satellite fix, which just doesn't work, right? You've got 5, 6, 7, or 8 GPS satellites. You are getting a fix from them as you rotate.
At what altitude are they? What altitude are these satellites?
Talking about Fantasyland shit, dude.
Yeah. What altitude are these satellites at? Where are they?
Look, me and Jen, we both have the Palantir fucking orbs, okay? We used it to find the fucking One Ring. We can sit here and talk like this all day about how me and Jen used the Palantir orbs to find the One Ring. Well, we almost found the One Ring, but we needed the third Palantir orb to find the One Ring. And then we knew the distance from the Palantir orb from each Palantir orb to the fucking
Just
One
being
Ring
ridiculous.
to find fucking Proto.
Yeah, facts.
Dude,
That's what you sound like.
You understand that what I just said has the same evidence value of what you said.
But can you not see, in principle, this is how it would work? We're just discussing.
Okay.
Can you give me the altitude?
Yes, and I just used a Lord of the Rings analogy using the same principle of how it works.
Yeah.
Fine.
You're not giving me any detail as to where are these satellites?
Here?
What altitude are these satellites? Fucking hell. What altitude are they? How many of them are there?
There's at least 25. Outside here in southern Australia, I get my GPS out. I typically see 35 GNSS satellites.
What altitude are they at?
The Navstar ones are at about 20,000 kilometres. The Japanese ones are a bit higher.
20,000 kilometres.
What's their wattage output?
What's their I think they have about
12,000 miles. You're saying.
How many watts is the radio transmitter? That's what I want to know.
It's not as much as you might think. It's only a few hundred watts, 500 watts or something.
500 watts.
I think so. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a 500 watt antenna?
Have you ever seen an autocorrelation filter?
Oh, dude. You've seen a 500 watt
The signal is basically in the noise.
They're very large.
He doesn't want to answer the
500
question.
watts is a lot of power, bro.
It is, but it's spread out over a long distance, right? By the time it gets to the surface of the Earth. The receive power level is very low. It's basically on the noise floor. You can only detect it through autocorrelation.
Okay, that's fantastic. I just said 500 watts is a lot of power. Where's that power come from?
They're solar powered.
The solar power.
2.5 kilowatts
500 watt solar panel for
They have
each
about
one of these
2.5
GPS.
kilowatts
Are
of
you
solar.
kidding me?
Sorry, what's that?
A 500 watt solar panel.
No, they have about 2.5 kilowatts of solar.
Really? That's what you think?
I think so. Yeah.
Ooh. You're more gullible than I thought, bro.
At home, but okay.
How many square feet do you think that would be?
Well, it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's about 10 square meters, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I would guess about like half a basketball court, at least.
A 500
fucking
watt solar panel
kilowatt.
typically is
No. It's only
27.5 square feet.
500 watts. The insulation of the sun is 1,000 watts per square meter. So 500 watts is about half a square meter on the surface of the Earth. Slightly less.
Dude, we don't have
space.
100% efficiency, brother. And
No,
solar
but this-
panels degrade in efficiency over time.
Yeah, but if you buy a domestic 400 watt solar panel, it is about 1,200 by 1,400, something like that, millimeters.
Well, they don't make 400 watt solar panels. You get a bunch of solar panels.
Yeah, but the modules you buy, the domestic power modules are
And those things weren't put up today. Solar panels are way more efficient than they were in the past.
most of them are fairly recent. There's not very many original Block 1 GPSs up there anymore. They have a lifespan of about 5 years on average.
Oh, I guess it's from the degradation of the solar panel.
Oh, a whole bunch of
Yeah,
things.
like in a
And they've got to
5-year
get
life.
upgraded.
Why do they only last 5 years? That's curious.
Oh, yeah, radiation they need to be able to maintain attitude and stuff like that. Some of those things that they fail. Here we are, block 1, block 2.
How do you know the orientation of satellite?
Yeah,
How do you
but
know?
why doesn't there need to be 3 GPSs for triangulation?
In practice, you need 4. That 4 is the very minimum you need to actually do a fix. 5 is the practical minimum to get a reasonably quality fix.
The more the better.
That's right. You need 4 so you can find what time is. 5 just to give you enough noise margin.
It's like lost in the sauce of absolute bullshit. Daza, you'd have more credibility if you had evidence.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea. I like Jin's idea of building the GPS. I can do it. I've got a couple of mobile phones and I'm getting some new modules soon. So I can build a device that actually effectively is a GPS compass.
We want to Rhinex data.
What do you want Rhinex for?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Well, we can capture it if you
Rhinex
like.
for? Because that tells you its actual position.
No, the Rhinex doesn't give you the position. It just gives you the phase.
Yeah, it gives you 3 coordinates, right?
If you want Rhinex to give you the ECF coordinate, you don't need Rhinex for that, though.
Okay.
You can get ECF without Rhinex, right? Most GPS receivers will give it to you on the NMEA string if you want it.
Yeah, that's great, but we want it anyway.
All right, we can get you the Rhinex. I can process whatever comes out of my modules.
That's what the message is in, right? That's what the GPS message is, right? Rhinex data.
No. The GPS. That's what comes out of a receiver for consumption by external devices. Okay. Like a surveyor's GPS would produce Rhinex for post processing, for example, but internally they don't use that. No.
Oh, internally, what's it used then?
It depends on the module that you buy. Most of them will just expose the final processed data. Others will have typically have a custom format that they emit that has all of the core information, like the carrier phase data, the constellation information, and navigation messages and things like that, which can be bundled up into Rhinex so you can exchange it with other devices.
Okay. Yeah. All right. But, we need the positions in the ECEF coordinates because you already know that those coordinates are in Cartesian coordinates on a plane. You know that.
No, they're not Cartesian coordinates on a plane. They're Cartesian coordinates.
What's up, down, east? What's up, down, easting?
The GPS coordinate system has no notion of up and down.
Why is there 3 coordinates in the Rhinex data?
So the 3 coordinates, the X, Y, and Z. So Z is the coordinate that.
So that's not Cartesian.
The axis runs through the rotational axis of the Earth, and the X and Y coordinates.
No, it doesn't. You were misinformed. This is why I don't think you worked with that shit. You just fucked up, bro. It is really easy to find out the Earth center, Earth fixed GPS data puts you on the tangent plane. That's not even debatable.
Oh, no. We're not. Are you talking about the coordinate system or when you try and find your position on the surface of the Earth in that coordinate system?
Okay. There's the global coordinate system and the local coordinate system, right? You don't even know.
You mean the geocentric coordinate system? And so this is what you're talking about, I think. I'll just post it. I'm about to run out of time, unfortunately. It's one of those stupid transparent backgrounds. So this is what you're talking about, right?
Square. Yeah, on the little square there. Yeah, the tangent one.
Yeah, so that is your geocentric coordinate, but your ECF is against those blue lines, Z, X, and Y. So Z is running up the middle of the rotation axis of the Earth. X and Y are equatorial, and I think X is aligned with the prime meridian.
None of that crap is measured. Well, the only thing that's measured in the position with all of the freaking satellites, the 5 satellites you suggested, are the intersection of those 3 green lines.
Those 3 green lines
is the position of the receiver.
Yeah, that's right. The intersection of the receiver would be those three
relative
green
to the
lines, which-
quote-unquote satellites.
Yeah.
What you measure at the receiver is the time it took to come from the signal to come from the satellite to the receiver, which is the intersection of those three lines. That's the only thing that's
right. That's the
measured.
trilateration
Everything
process,
under
right?
that freaking square don't exist. It has
But-
no measurements of it.
No, but you can find where the origin is compared to the satellites, though,
The origin of what?
of the coordinate system.
You can tell that from the GPS receiver.
Not from the receiver, but the
that's what I
ephemeris
thought.
of the.
See?
So here's how it works.
You spread misinformation.
So here's how it works.
If you knew all this, you've been you've been obfuscating this entire time, brother. Okay? I'm sorry to say that. You've been obfuscating.
So here's how it works, Indy, right? They at a fixed point on Earth, or multiple fixed points, they measure.
You mean the intersection of those green lines?
They very precisely measure the path of the satellite, right? And that will give you an orbital parameter. And relative to you and where you know the satellite is relative to you, the center of that path is the coordinate system center, right? You don't actually have to measure where it is. It is a natural occurrence of an orbit, which is why they chose the center of mass as the center. Because that is very important in the orbit.
Center
right?
of mass isn't the center of the Earth, though, brother.
No, exactly.
You know what the center of the mass would be? And it would actually be the Earth-Moon system. It would be the very center of the Earth, which is 2,000 fucking miles from the center.
Yeah, so the moons definitely impact the orbits of the satellites over time, but the primary orbit influencer is the center of mass of the Earth.
Okay. The center of the mass of the Earth, okay, is not the center of the Earth. It's 2,000 miles away from it. That's where the center of gravity is, right? That's what they're falling towards, right? The center of gravity.
2,000 miles from the geometric center.
To the Barry center.
No, not the Barry center of the Earth Moon. The satellite isn't orbiting the Barry center.
It should be falling toward that.
No. The orbit is.
It has to be
the Barry center of the satellite and the Earth. The moon is perturbing
that's all
that
cool
orbit.
Story though, but it has to be orbiting around the Barry center.
Orbiting Earth and Moon as a constellation, then that would be the Barry center that you would use.
Okay, it has to orbit around the Barry center because the Earth Moon.
Why does it orbit around the sun then? It's not orbiting the Barry center of the sun.
Oh my God! Because it's not, because the pull of the sun isn't enough to pull it out of the frickin' Earth's orbit. Okay.
There you go. The moon is not enough to pull the satellite out of the Earth.
I know, but it's enough to make the Earth wobble, right? In this wobble,
slowly?
It's not slow. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
So here's the thing, right? The moon is impacting the orbit, but the primary orbit that you get is dominated by the Earth, right? The moon is a minor influence over time.
Okay, that's a cool story. They would have to, as by necessity, orbit the Barry center, wherever that is. Yeah,
they don't orbit the Barry center of the Earth-Moon system. Only if the satellite was orbiting around the moon as well.
Does the moon orbit the Barry center?
No.
Yes, it does.
Okay. What does the Earth do?
What does
the Earth do in relation to the Barry center? What does the Earth do in relation to the Barry center?
It orbits the Barry center as well.
No, it doesn't go around it. The Barry center is inside the Earth.
Yeah, but it's rotating around it, right? The center of mass of the Earth
rotating around it, or is it wobbling?
The Earth Moon orbit together around the Barry center of the common two bodies.
Okay. You ever play like or do any 3D graphics program where you can take the center of rotation and move it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'll try and find it.
So you can look at any graphic of the Barry center, GIF, fucking video. Okay, in the Earth is wobbling in a way about this Barry center thing. It's not orbiting it because it's inside the Earth. This is the direction that anything that would be entering the Earth-Moon system would fall to. Has to fall in that direction because that's the point of it. That is the point of equilibrium. Yeah, dude.
Only if it's orbiting the barycenter.
Look,
If you're orbiting the Earth, you're not orbiting the Earth-Moon barycenter.
okay, but you're supposed to be. This is what you're not getting. You heard the story. They orbit the Earth. That's what you heard, and you're stuck on that shit. But it should be orbiting the barycenter because that's the center of gravity of the Earth-Moon system, and anything that came out of the system would fall towards that. It has to because of Gauss's law. Easy to prove with Gauss's law. The inverse square law has to happen because.
Indigo, that's probably the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen.
What do you mean? What are you talking about, seeing? What'd I show you?
I just had to envision what you were talking about, and it's just.
I know you're dumb though, so I mean,
That's
I don't know
fucking
what else to say.
stupid.
Yeah, that's cool. I think you hurt my feelings. I'm gonna cry again. Not twice today. I'll go over some mean things and I'm gonna cry again. Come on, man. Get a grip. Perfect. Perfect. Oh boy. So, anywho, it's fucking late. I should just stop while I'm behind. 2:27. Look.
I have specifically witnessed personally a boat going over the horizon.
Yeah, where?
It was on Lake Erie.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
It sounds like he's very familiar with the Black Swan argument.
So, why can't that happen on the flat Earth?
Because the Earth is flat and water is supposed to be level on the flat Earth.
So
if water is level on the flat Earth, there's no horizon to go over.
Oh, so there's no horizon on a flat Earth?
No, it would just converge at a distance significantly more than what the distance is that could go over the horizon.
You mean like the Black Swan distance?
I don't know, dude. Whatever converges.
Look, there has to be a horizon on the flat Earth because the horizon is defined as where the sky appears to meet the ground or the water. The dividing line that separates the two. So you can see both. If there's no horizon, you would only see one.
Why does that get significantly farther the higher in altitude you go?
That's what I just said.
Why does that get significantly farther the higher in altitude you go?
I'll tell you. Okay? Now imagine you're on an infinite checkerboard and you see all the way out into the distance and you see squares, white squares, black squares. And you go higher and now you see more squares.
Yes.
Yes. Pretty sure checkerboards are flat.
Yeah, but are they infinite?
Oh my god, dude, you're a fucking tard.
Well, that's what your stupid little fucking argument is, that we're just some dimensional flat plane. Infinite. I've been in here a bunch. That's all you retards say, man. Y'all say the same thing. Y'all a bunch of flat tards.
Listen to this kid.
Great argument.
Tantrum.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's serious. That's what you guys say every time.
Hold your breath, man. Hold your breath next.
Your bathtub.
You're burned blue in the face next.
How long? Sure.
I don't know. How long can you hold your breath?
I don't know, 30 seconds maybe.
I start now. Man, he's lasted a long time.
Can you say that again, Indio, about the square checkered board? Can you say that again?
Yeah, like if you were looking at a checkerboard, I can actually post a graphic. This is the last thing I'm gonna say because I'm tired. Well, so this checkerboard, right? So obviously, if you got up higher above this checkerboard, you'd be able to, more squares would become visible, right? Obviously. Checkerboard ends because your angle, right? So you see how the orientation of the little squares They don't even look like squares, and they become less and less look like squares, and as they go up in distance, they look just like a freaking fuzzy line. Okay? When the angle's shallow enough, it becomes a horizon. But if you went up higher, that shallowness of that angle would change, and the angle would increase again as you're going up, and you'd see further to that angle. Was assumed to the appropriate distance that angle would be at, which would be further away.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's common sense, right? Like, you just go in a 3D graphics program, draw a little freaking checkerboard, and freaking you can't see the end, and then just go up in the video game program, you'll be able to see more of the checkerboard. I mean, this shit is not like exactly mysterious, like to me at least.
No, but the ballers, like, they just don't really get it or want to look into it. So it's a pretty good analogy for like.
Yeah, see farther, right? Like one argument I used to make was like, even a toddler knows that when he stands up, he can see farther. He has no conception of the Earth being a ball. But like, because toddlers start off on their stomach, right? They can't see anything because they can only crawl when they're on the stomach. That's why they want to learn how to walk. Because once they can, first they get up on their knees and then they can lean on something and stand up. Now they can see farther. Right? They can see everything in the room. Now they want to go get it. They go, shit, man. I can stand up now, and I realize the Earth is a ball. Like, they didn't fucking do that. They just got up and they were like, man, I can see more of this floor. Because when I'm on my stomach, my face is on the ground, I can't see shit.
Then they got indoctrinated.
And they got told their house is a ball.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm out. Love you guys. Peace.
See you, bro.